and Mumbai University, and member of the Managing Committee of Family Service Center. I must mention that she is the former chairperson of Family Service Center Mumbai, a non-profit organization that has been working for the past 65 years in the field of non-institutional services for children, including adoption, foster care, and sponsorship. So we are really fortunate to have such a committed individual with us. We hope our students will gain an insight into things like what is social work, what are the values and ethics involved, what do social workers actually do. So without any further delay, I would like to invite ma'am to go ahead with the talk. Please, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shatrupa. And Dr. Maharana, your words were so good. It reminded me of the college anthem that we have, which says "Chalo zindagi ko aasan kar de, pyar ki khushboo sab isme bhar de." So that is how. That's the whole essence of social work, to be reaching out to people. And you very rightly said how, about getting people together, organizing people, associating with people. So Dr. Maharana, thank you so much for your introduction. Very meaningful. And a lot of times when we have such introductions made by, people who are not the conveners, they do it because they have to finish an introduction. But here you have taken the pains to give so many instances, quote from poetry. Thank you so much. It was really very nice to listen to you. And
I must just tell you, ma'am, that Dr. Maharana is a poet. He writes poems in Odia as well as in Hindi.
Could make out from the way he was speaking. And and welcome to all of you students here. Unfortunately, in this online sessions that we have, we can't see the students, and that's the saddest part, because being a teacher for so many years, we love to be with the students. We love to be interacting with you, go to your desks, talk to you. So that that facility is not available here, and that is the saddest part of these online sessions. And I'd like to thank in advance Dr. Miss Prajukti Sahu, who's going to give the vote of thanks now itself. Your model degree college in Devgar is, I think Devgar means, I read on the net that it means abode of divinity. And I think that is something that you all are trying to bring into your college, which is, the minute teachers are involved, the minute teachers are engaged in the entire teaching learning processes of the students, the minute teachers are committed, there's no looking back for any college. So I think that is something that y'all are all doing. And I just wanted to say that I have been to Orissa twice in my life earlier. One was because as a college, we always engage in disaster intervention. I'll be talking about it. And one was when there was a super cyclone in 1999. And I think 165 of us came to Jagatsinghpur, and we were working there for nearly 10 days. So that was one visit, extremely memorable time, because we saw people getting engaged with us. The way people were reaching out to us, even though they had suffered the problem, but they were the ones who were helping us out for most of the things. And the other time I came there was again for about more than 10 to 12 days, when we did a study on the Kandamal atrocities against minorities. So our college was asked to do that study, and we were there. About, I think 16 of us were there for 10 days or 12 days. And we did a study in Kandamal in, I think, more than 365 villages we covered over all those days. So my memories of Orissa is linked to disaster intervention. So that is something. And just wanted to say, students, I'm very happy that You all are all here. I see the numbers fluctuating, but that doesn't matter. I think even if 2 of you decide to do social work, I'll be the happiest person, because everybody does social work. Who doesn't do social work? Everyone does social work. But when we as students, we are as professional social workers, we are workers, we are trained to do social work. How to actually train, how to analyze, how to observe, how to gather facts, how to create a confidence among people, what are the administrative skills, what are the recording skills, what are the writing skills, what are the knowledge areas, what are the skill areas, what are the attitude areas that we need to look at. All this we learn in when we are doing any course in social work. So, and our profession, I think, is very unique. Many other professions work with burettes and pipettes and master sheets and Excel sheets and all, but we are the ones who are working with people. We work directly with people. We work with, and I think one of the most important aspects of our College of Social Work, as well as several colleges of social work, is to concentrate on the poorest of the poor. So we concentrate on the marginalized groups. We concentrate on vulnerable groups, poverty, people who are facing immense poverty. So that itself shows that our entire goal for teaching and entire teaching purpose is quite different from probably a lot of other professions. And I'm very happy that this particular lecture of mine, I was just thinking when I was putting down my points that probably I'm selling social work. I love to sell the social work profession to people, because I was always reminded of Sarojini Naidu's poem, which Shatrupa, of course, being an English professor, will know about, who will buy my bangles. So in that way, who will buy social work? And I am happy that I have some of you listening to this. So let me start sharing my screen so that we don't take too much time. We are at 10:45 already. I hope to make it as, let me try and make it as short as possible, but going to be difficult. Let me, just give me a second. Okay, can you see this? Is it clear? Dr. Shatrupa, can you see this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, fine. So let's start with I just spoke to you about professional social work. In professional social work, education becomes the cornerstone of any profession. And that is why we call social work a profession. And there are so many debates on these things, but we will go straight to understanding what is social work. So the first social work college or school is started in 1899. You can see when it was started. And in India, the latest, of course, the first one was Tata Institute of Social Sciences. And all of us know about TISS. Most of you may have heard of TISS. And if you have not heard, today is one day, good day to learn about more schools of social work. So you have the Delhi School of Social Work, Madras School of Social Work, ASK College of Social Work, Nirmala, Niketan. I speak as a representative of College of Social Work because I've been associated from 1975 with this college. So many of the examples we'll be giving will be from this college, but it is definitely going to reflect what is being done in most of the colleges of social work, most, not all, most of the colleges. And currently, so our college started in 1955, and so quite a long innings that we've gone on for. And currently, there are, I think, more than 600 colleges of social work in India, so quite a long time. And most of us, when we think about social work, we're thinking about social work as, helping others help themselves. We have moved from this definition to other aspects of definition. And today, social work is more and more called a practice-based profession because it's completely based on the type of intervention that we do at individual level, group level, as well as community level, as well as advocacy and research, because those are the areas of our intervention. And it has become an academic discipline. And as Dr. Shatrupa said right in the beginning, we are concentrating on social change and development. And the main focus now is on social justice, human rights, collective responsibility, and respect for diversities. All these are very central to social work practice and education. And because of that, I think most of us, our colleges are concentrating on this very, very keenly, so that our students are enabled to understand all the, to engage with people and understand the structures, so systems and structures of the world, so of society. So I think that is something that we do as social work and social workers. So the mission of most of the social work colleges is to, as I rightly said, and I can keep saying it again and again, that we work for the vulnerable and the exploited, both locally as well as globally. We have interventions done at various levels. And so our colleges, so when we are talking about colleges, we're talking about colleges all over India, mission of social work colleges, and of course abroad. But here in India, we are trying to develop these, the young motivated professionals who come to us, and they come to us, they come to us with a spark in their eyes, the keenness to do something in the field, to the keenness to reach out to people who are deprived. I think that is something which comes very spontaneously to them. They want to do something for people. I mean, so when they come in, and I am going to talk a little bit later about disaster intervention, but as of now, today, last 3 days in Mumbai, there was a big fire that gutted an entire community in very close to our place. And all our students are there working. They're working day in and day out to bring some solace to the people there, to distribute things, to talk to people. And our main focus is on trauma counseling, because we are trained in that, and our students others can give, give blankets and food and all, but our students have the capacity to talk to people, to engage with people, to listen to them. One of the main important things that we do as social workers is to listen. So I think those are the things that we impart to our students, and they pick it up so well, and they go so beautifully into the world to do something. So, and we, as Dr. Shatrupa also said, mission of all social work colleges to develop professional ethics, to understand how is it to work with people, and with reference to, ourself, to understanding self is very important, understanding society is very important for us as social workers. So this is how most of us social workers are working with. So, and one of the growing demand for social workers all over, of course, all over the world, we are talking about human rights, and we are engaging more and more with our students to focus on social human rights violations, violence against people, atrocities against people. So they're really learning to do all that, and of course to work on issues related to inequalities, poverty, religion, civil conflicts, disasters, displacement. So the gamut is huge, the type of work that social workers are doing in the field. So the people who are practitioners now are contributing in various ways in the field. And, when we go, we'll just see what people are doing. So let's go. I don't want to spend too much time. I don't know. I wish I would be able to finish. We are at 10:52. So, but we'll hope to try. And I want to concentrate a little bit on the latter slides. So the courses that we offer are Bachelor of Social Work, the Master of Social Work. This is offered by most of the colleges of social work. So these are all semester-based, choice-based credit system as per UGC. And some colleges have a specialization and some have generic. We as a college have opted to offer the generic course. But specializations are mostly in terms of family and child welfare, HRD, medical and psychiatric social work, education. so health related. So the specializations are various, and many of the colleges do offer that. And apart from the BSW and MSW in social work education, there is also the MPhil and the PhD. And the paraprofessional courses. The paraprofessional courses are the ones that students do before they enroll for a BSW. All paraprofessionals do not enter BSW, but they are the ones who are the grassroots workers. And I think though we have had a very robust training program for paraprofessionals for many years in our college, and I think they are the ones in the field who are doing enormous work. So they are the ones who are the torch bearers in the communities as they go and they work. So all this, the entire curriculum that we have created, all social work colleges, are to help students work in as many settings as they can, and with all the employment opportunities that are there in the development sector. So this is what we are trying to do as social work education in colleges. So there are, apart from the BSW, MSW, etc., the PhD and the MPhil, there are several short-term courses offered in many colleges, and I'm concentrating on both the Tata Institute of Social Sciences, which is in Mumbai. I'll probably in my talk also refer to SNDT University, which is also in Mumbai, which is offering social work, MSW, and our college, College of Social Work. So we have diploma in social work, research methodology, therapeutic counseling, child rights, child protection. You can look up our college website, cswnn.edu.in. I'll send it to you, Dr. Shatrupa. So you have various opportunities to educate, ourselves with the, so we have sustainable development. Now it's all, you have reflective teaching with information technology, trauma-informed care, gerontology, disaster risk assessment, dance movement therapy, which is offered by Tata Institute of Social Sciences, postgraduate diploma in water sanitation and hygiene. The range, it's a big, long range of short-term courses that are offered. So some of these courses are also online courses. For example, now we have in College of Social Work, Nirmala, Niketan, where I teach this online course, PG Diploma in Social Research Methodology, is an online course. So then, the students are able to take the classes from wherever they are. And though we miss the interaction, but it has been helpful for a lot of people who can't come to Mumbai. And so they are from Pan-India, students are attending the course. So the core courses students here are, this main courses that we are teaching in all colleges of social work. What we have referred to in the earlier days, which was all foreign literature. Now we have more indigenous literature. I'm not going into all those issues because those will take up a lot of time. And this is not what you want. You want, as students, you want to know what are the type of courses. So courses, main courses, what we teach, the subjects are how to work with individuals and families, how to do group work, how to work with different groups, how to organize communities, how to do research, and social action and advocacy. These are the main core courses being handled in most of the colleges. And so for the BSW, that's a Bachelor in Social Work, that is 3 years course after your 12th. Now, of course, there is a change with the new education policy. Now they have to offer a 4-year course, so that a lot of changes are happening. The curriculum is being, reworked on. And so the BSW have the subjects, or what is being taught are all these, like, development studies, environment studies, women's studies, development communication, health and nutrition is a very interest. Everything is so interesting, especially the BSW level, because they are the ones, and the young, they are, bright young students who come at the age of 17, 18, and they want to know more of so much. It's a pleasure to teach social work students. And a college like ours, we have a lot of students who come from rural Maharashtra, and they are not very proficient in English. So of course we have ways and means to help them. But as a college, we also, and many colleges probably are doing that, we also help them, we also allow them to write the exams in Marathi or Hindi. So they're not saddled with, English, because they're not so proficient in English. So we allow them to write in Hindi or Marathi. And most of us are proficient to assess those papers because most of us have been there, so we know the language. And so the other subjects that we offer are life skills, social movements, research. So I'm just putting on the range of subjects that are there, are being taught, and at the BSW level. So we also have aging studies, child rights and child protection. Very interesting. Students, as I said, not to just sell the course, but to understand that, apart from just understanding what we do in commerce and arts, though they have their strengths, social work offers a various range of courses for us to understand social realities. So, whether it's rural and urban studies, human rights, informal labor, who are the people who are working in the informal labor sector? Where is women's contribution in the entire informal labor sector? All those get covered very well in most of these subjects. Disability studies, peace education. And one of the major things that we students are taught is how to do field work. And I will be talking a little bit on that. So the research methodology, many of the courses are repeated here, but some of the things that are new in the research for the master's program is, of course, management of non-profit organizations, sustainable development environment, economics, politics, sociology, and sociology for social work, politics for social work, economics for social work. It's not the routine what is being taught in the other colleges. We have to change that to fit our teaching and learning goals. And research, and what they have is research and term paper. All the students are required to do a term paper project or a research project. If they do a research project, it's only one research project. If they do a term paper project, then they have to do one term paper and take up a few more electives. So that is a requirement. And of course, they have field work, which is a major chunk of the work. And we have MPhil and PhD. I'm not going to go into that, but all the UGC regulations are followed for MPhil and PhD. We don't have MPhil in our college, but many of the colleges offer MPhil. So fieldwork students here is a very integral part of because students are placed under the guidance of trained field instructors. Most of these trained instructors are field practitioners who are already working in the field for 20, 25 years and have immense experience of guiding students in the field. So these can be, for example, in our college, we place them in 55 such organizations. So we have about 300 students, but they are placed in 55 organizations. So similarly, all colleges place them in selected government as well as non-government organizations. And the field work is more, they have to do is for 15 hours a week. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they have lectures. Thursday morning, they have lectures. And Thursday afternoon, Friday and Saturday, they are in the field. That is in this college. But all colleges have their own timetables of what they want to do with field work days. And so they have concurrent field work. The whole day they are there. And then they have the orientation sessions. Of course, now with all colleges, we have to do orientation. A very important aspect is a block placement, which they have to do, block field work. It can be for 15 days or 1 month, depending on the policy of the institution. And they have camps, rural camps, mostly they are rural camps. And these camps are also very important. And the learning that takes place through these field work helps them integrate the theoretical information and the knowledge gained from the field. So that is something. So 15 hours a week is a long, and the students really enjoy field work. One thing they come to social work education only because they are enamored with the field work component, the type of orientation, the type of concurrent field work they do, and the block field work, the camps. It's really interesting for the students to do all these things. Students have to go to the mandatory rural camp, and the students have to travel to small teams to all places all over India. This is again a very interesting component for students, and this promotes their community living, sharing, living together, planning the entire thing. Most of the times they plan the entire schedule of the camp, contacting the organization which they're going to visit, all the organizations, the living arrangements, the food arrangement, the travel arrangements, everything is done by the students. So it's a very, very beautiful experience that they get in planning, organization, directing, coordinating the entire post-corp that we talk about. They get this experience in here. Faculty also go with them, at least every group of say 20, 30 students, there's 1 or 2 faculty members who go depending on our strength of faculty members. And also in addition to this, we also have workshops all through the year. We have different types of workshops where they learn the skills how to work with urban, rural, tribal areas of the country. What are the type of cultural factors that one has to keep in mind? So this is mainly fieldwork, and fieldwork, as I said, they are assigned to, every student is assigned to one faculty advisor and one field supervisor. So every field supervisor will probably have about 13 to 14 students who she or he will supervise. So the student is with this particular field supervisor for the full year, and sometimes semester-wise it changes depending on the institution. And the student will have to maintain regular recordings. The full year's field work is evaluated. So we have internal as well as external assessment for field work. And these are mainly on the areas of problem-solving skills, the analytical ability of the student, the skills, the professional development, areas of professional development, as well as how the student has used field instruction and field supervision. Those 4 major areas in which the field work is evaluated. And also just students are required to dress appropriately, giving due respect to the socio-cultural practice of the people, because we do tell them, to wear salwar kameez or sari, or these are the things, though we, yes, we don't want to stress on it too much, but at the same time, students are told to dress appropriately given the type of cultural practices that our communities follow. So mainly, which are the areas that we work on when the students are in the field? So when we are talking about working with individuals and families, they are again a range of areas which they work on. So for example, we work in the field of adoption, sponsorship, institutions, child guidance clinics. So students will work with individuals with, people with disability, people affected and infected by HIV, families infected and affected by HIV, children infected and affected by HIV, chronically and terminally ill patients, women facing violence, children facing abuse. The range is too much. I'm just giving you a few examples of the type of work that we do. And of course, substance abuse, LGBTQI groups. So definitely a lot of things they're taught how to work. So students are taught how to work with all these groups and individuals. So when it comes to group work, again, a lot of group work there, and there are international standards for group work practice, international standards for community practice. So one has to try and ensure that we are within those standards. So we are teaching the students, then the students do this in the field. So when they go to the field, whichever organization they are associated with, and depending on the type of experience that organization offers. So they work with educational groups, recreation groups, support groups, self-help groups, therapy groups. The range, again, you can read it. Anganwadi teachers groups, women in prisons, groups in disaster areas, men. So even when we're talking about group work, we have certain, when we were working after the tsunami earthquake, a tsunami, not earthquake, in the south of India, in Kadalur district, we were working with women's groups, widows, groups of women coming together, and we were working with them. And suddenly we find that one whole group of men had formed, and they came to us and they said, "Why are you working only with the women's group? What about us? Don't leave us out. We also want to be worked with." So you can see that, when we are working, we are also making changes in the way people think. So even we have started thinking differently, that okay, men also want that type of reaching out, because we were always more concentrating on women. And when we're working with communities, so the work with individuals, groups, and communities. So we work with communities. Working with communities are a very prominent place in social work education and practice. So we are working in the field of various issues. These issues are, and the communities are sometimes geographic communities or functional communities. They can be a community of transgenders we are working with, or a community of brick kiln workers, or whatever. So we work in the field of health, education, Manrega, Panchayati Raj institutions, sorry, spelling is wrong, and a lot of issue-based work that is done. We work with the leaders, we organize the communities. So there's a whole lot of work which our students are doing in the field. And this is to bring about positive changes both at the micro level in different types at the of communities. So our work also extends to government bodies, to Panchayati Raj institutions, as I said. So the work is again huge. The range is really huge. And the main goal, of course, is to build inclusive and empowered communities. It is not very easy to work in communities also, though we know the focus is there. But one of the things that we found when we're working in communities is the type of problems that arise with. So when we had the riots in Mumbai, in I think 1991, 92, we had the communal riots in Mumbai, and till that we were working in several communities. But after the Mumbai riots, where it was, there was a lot of friction between the Hindu and Muslim groups, which has become extremely pronounced now, it became difficult for us to work, because where we used to work with people all living together, suddenly after the riots, when we went, we found that these groups were not talking to that groups. They didn't want to engage with each other. So one learns a lot in terms of communities, and our students have learned. And today there are so many of them working in a lot of positions. But remember their field work, because the field work is where the foundation was built for them to go into the various areas. So as Dr. Shatrupa said, main values that we learn, and the students learn all this, and the commitment to the importance of the individual in society. So the very fact that people can change, the belief that people have, can change, they have the ability to change. I think that is what that really, motivates us. Because the minute we feel that no, people cannot change, then there's no end to that. There's no follow-up on that action. But our students are taught to understand that people can change, and the whole respect for confidentiality of relationships. Also, as students, as teachers, to be able to transmit knowledge, and the commitment to help people. One of the main things in values in social work is that our commitment to help people help themselves, because we don't want to make them dependent on us for anything. We help them help themselves by doing things for themselves, by learning for themselves. So even when we have a service user, we used to call them clients earlier, but now the nomenclature is changing. So we like to call them service users, because the relationship is not a hierarchical relationship. It's an equal relationship. We are social workers, we provide service, and they are there and they are receiving the service that. So earlier we used to probably be able to do things for them, but now we say, okay, you come with us to the police station, you come with us to the health center, and you try to do everything yourself. You come to us to the ration office. So everywhere the tendency is now to trend now is to help them help themselves. And this is what our students are also doing in the field. So commitment to social justice, and also high level of personal and professional conduct, which again was stressed by Dr. Shatrupa when she spoke about ethics in practice. The other aspect, apart from fieldwork, is our research and term paper. So research is students work on the research projects and the term paper. Many of the topics, any of these topics students opt for any topics that they like. Maybe it is from their field experience, for their own personal experiences, from what they're reading, their literature review, and they work on several, and I've just put a few here, which is drought, malnourishment, deforestation, violation of land rights. So you see that everywhere the instance is the thrust is more on human rights and social justice everywhere. So that is something that is now running across colleges, and we want to stress on this more and more. So coming to disaster management, and apart from the teaching component, the fieldwork component, the research component, we also have a very robust research cell in our college, which and most of the colleges have research cells where they do a lot of commissioned researches, and so that is another component of social work education and training. One other, as two main other aspects in our in social work education is one which is disaster management. Which is a conscious action by students and teachers to prevent, mitigate, and minimize the extent of damage to life and property, in addition to organizing rescue, relief, and rehabilitation. So this is one thing which is very important for us. And as a college, that many of the colleges have done disaster intervention. I've just put down certain things that we, as a College of Social Work, we have done. And right from 1958, where there was a fire in the urban slum, to the Latur earthquake, communal riots in Mumbai, Bhopal chemical gas leak, the Gujarat earthquake, super cyclone in Orissa, plus the tsunami, the floods in Mumbai, the Bombay bomb blasts, the terrorist attack, even the hijacking of passengers of of a ship, communal violence in Kandhamal, the COVID-19 pandemic, and very, very recently, which is still going on, which is a fire in Malad slum in 2023. So disaster intervention has been in nearly 19 to 20 national disasters, local and national disasters that we ourselves have taken part in. And I think what is most important is whenever there is a disaster, even in something happens in Mumbai, like this fire that happened, it is the students who come running first to us that, ma'am, we want to do something. What is our college doing? Can we do something? Can we collect food? Can we collect clothes? Can we go to that place? Can we do some counseling? So this is how students, because of the feeling that they need to reach out to people. So there's always a flurry of activity in the college after any disaster. There are faculty meetings. There is a permission to be taken from the university because we'll be going away. When we came to Orissa, 1999, Jagat Singhpur, and we had to take permission from the university that, we are going to be there for 10 days and, what happens to the curriculum then. But, and the parents have to give their permission because, without the parents' consent, we cannot do such things. And very, very interesting, but most of the parents come and tell us, please take our students for such work. Please take them. They need to be trained in all these things. They need to have that sensitivity. So we don't have barring maybe one or two parents who may have some reservations about sending children, most of them are very happy to send their students and children for such work. And students train, of course, before they go for training for disaster work, we train them in first aid, trauma counseling, civil defense, how to interview in a disaster situation, and how to prepare for group activities. When we were in Gujarat after the Gujarat earthquake, there were so many children all over the place because they could not attend school. So one example is where all our students went, we take all the material from here when we go, and we stay there in tents. We get these tents ready. Some NGOs help us and we stay there. Of course, we also don't have water those days. We don't have any facilities, but the students are ever ready to work. And really hats off to the type of commitment these social work students have. Of course, everybody has that, but because we are more in touch with them, I say this. And so a lot of group activities are conducted by our students. So because they're learning group work, they also know how to extend that to disaster intervention. And then there's always the pilot team that goes first, sees the place, what type of work is required, then they come back, then our teams of students are formed. So the whole process that happens in the institutions, and it's very rewarding for the students, and students learn for life. They always tell us that, ma'am, 1 week of fieldwork in Kandamal was enough for us to understand what is social work, because that's so much of exposure to people suffering, people, and understanding so many things. The other aspect, apart from disaster intervention, which many of the colleges have started, is field action projects. Now, these field action projects are projects which probably sometimes go on for about 5 years, 10 years. Sometimes they're time-bound projects, it's 5 years, sometimes they go on for 10 years. Now, these projects are started mainly by the students when they're in the college doing BSW or MSW. And they are, along with the teacher, they start this project. And these projects, then they write for funding from organizations. And sometimes the government, if it's something which is related to the government work, they do give us a little bit of funds. But otherwise, it is they write funds. They're taught how to write funding proposals. So they write, and then they start these. Initially, it is probably in a small place in a community, but then it gets into becoming a big project. So we've had projects working for, and over the last 65 or 66 years of Nirmala Niketan College of Social Work, we've had more than 41 such projects. And some of these projects continue as till about 10 years or 12 years with the college, and then they become independent NGOs. That's how they function. And then we also have some projects which are time-bound, they stop, and then the teacher who was in charge of the project may continue with the NGO which has been formed. So that is another thing that another call that the project takes. So we've had projects for example, counseling for families, which is Family Service Center, Kumbarwada project, which we worked with the Potters colony in Mumbai. Then we've had Yuva, which is an international organization now working on housing problem of slum dwellers. Many of these projects have become international projects, like Prerna working with sex workers is now internationally known. Yuva working with housing problems is now internationally known. All started as small projects by the students of College of Social Work, and now they've catapulted into big, huge international organizations. So we've had projects working on with unorganized. So any group that you speak about, which is a group which has been marginalized, excluded, we have worked with them, and we've formed projects. So we worked with unorganized construction workers, environment consciousness. This happened after the Bhopal earthquake, Bhopal gas leak, sorry. And whenever a project starts, it is a continuation of some issue. So it was because of the Bhopal gas leak, we realized that we want to do something to follow it up. It's just intervention is not required. So the project came up. Sakya worked with dowry issues. There's a Setu, which is working with domestic workers. It worked. Now all these are now closed down. And many of these projects closed down because the demonstration value of these projects have then are now no longer there. Other organizations have taken up the work. So that is why these projects may close down. And sometimes they close down because of funding issues. Sometimes they close down because they feel that that particular issue is not really relevant now. So that depends on the particular project. We've had projects like Saloka, because after this Saloka came up after the Mumbai riots, the communal riots in Mumbai. And then we realized that we need to do something. So we started what is called the community animators training programs in all the affected communities where there were Hindus and Muslims staying together. And we started having training programs for the youth. So Saloka was born out of that. There's Arohan, which is working on various issues in rural Maharashtra. ANKUR was a project which was working with children with mental retardation. Other projects of Tata Institute are Koshish, which is working on beggary. There's Tarasha, which is working on women with mental health issues. There's Muskan working with children. So there's a whole range, just to give you an idea of what these various issues are. And what do we do when we are working with construction workers? Coming to what we do as social workers is that, for example, when we work with construction workers, we connect them to government schemes. We do a lot of skill strengthening. We empower them to understand their rights as workers in the unorganized sector. We work with NAAC workers. Now, these construction workers, they call NAAC workers because, you know, at strategic points near the near the bus station, near the train the station, they conglomerate in the mornings, early mornings, with all their tools, you know. So and from there's a contractor who picks them up for work. So we start working with them right from there. So they call it NAAC work. Right in the morning, our workers are there, our students are there. In terms of domestic workers, we are helping them. So what I want to say is social work is not doling. Social work is just not charity work. Social work is conscientizing people, is working with them about their rights, about their responsibilities also, but mainly about their rights. So with domestic workers, what we've done is negotiating with the employers, doing a lot of leadership for them. There are different types of domestic workers. There are full-time domestic workers. There are part-time domestic workers. The range is so many now. And so mobilizing to influence the government to pass the domestic workers bill, we tried a lot on that for years. It has not still worked. These are, you know, our problems of working in the field. So in terms of Panchayati Raj institutions, we've tried a lot through our projects to increase their participation. A lot of inclusion, leadership training is given on governance. So, and with Adivasis and tribal communities, a lot of work, because 3 or 4 now of our projects are working in rural Maharashtra with Adivasi groups, and mainly to build people's organizations, again, based on the values of social equity, social justice, people-oriented development. So the work is focused on all these areas, and there's just some examples. I couldn't put everything. So when we are working with urban slums, we work on the issues of water taps, on the issue of ration, sanitation, garbage. We form issue-based communities. Our students are very good in all this, you know, in terms of collaborating with people, networking, going to the government, writing proposals, they're excellent. They learn the skills over the 3 or 4 years. 3 years they are with us, or the 2 years in the master's program. They learn a lot of these skills. So even with the women, we work on building their sangatans to help them create those self-help groups, run those self-help groups, and a lot of domestic violence and abuse issues are there. So helping them get access to protection and justice is something that we've been doing. Mobilizing them, of course, towards zero tolerance for violence, which is, I don't know, it should not be a tall order, but it's more and more. We are only of so many cases. Research is something that we do a lot in the field. So whether it is with any of these marginalized groups. So what our students have been doing is working with children of sex workers. So the entire project, Prerna project, which started years ago by the college, we realized that when the sex workers were soliciting their customers, the children used to be, in the room sometimes. They used to be given opium and they're sleeping in the same room. So then our students started feeling that, no, we want to do something with them. So they then started working with the children of sex workers, having education programs with them. So there's a Balwadi which came up for them, some work. So slowly, the issues have now, expanded. So many issues are taken up by the students. So children of leprosy and HIV affected groups, parents, children of single mothers, street children. So we've had projects. I could not name all the 41. Vatsalya was a project working with street children, which was again come up from our college. And so we also work on safe spaces for women and girls in communities, collaborating with the government. So one example I can give you of how what one of our students did. There was she was working in an organization which for the fellowship for the physically handicapped, which was at Haji Ali. If you know Mumbai, it's a Haji Ali place, and there was a sharp turn there, and none of the the workers who used to come to the fellowship, most of them were on wheelchairs. So they had to come to, the bus stop was on the other side, and they had to cross the road to come, and there was a sharp turn. So all the vehicles used to go very fast. So our poor, I would not say poor, I don't want to use that word, but our workers could not cross the road at all. And it was very difficult for them. The students took it up, and they went to the traffic commissioner, and they said that you have to put a traffic light there because our workers have to cross the road. So there's small things, but in terms of advocacy, these really work. So this is how students learn that they can help a lot in various different ways. So this and today, if you every time I pass Haji Ali, I know that this traffic light is here because our students had helped put that for our workers. So so various opportunities. I'm coming to the last two slides because I think some questions also can come up. Various opportunities for employment, and you can read the list. So in terms of rural and urban areas, you can have, as students can, all social work graduates, postgraduates can work in non-government hospital organizations, government hospitals, schools, correction. Now more and more schools have posts for counselors and social workers. Community-based organizations, rehabilitation centers, disability agencies, on campaigns, environment campaigns, livelihood issues of people with Dalit and tribal issues, and disaster management authorities, women, children, social enterprise. It's a huge range where now we want more and more students to work. Of course, the B line is towards corporate social responsibility. More and more students are going for CSR jobs, to our disappointment at times, because we want more and more of our students to work in grassroots level organizations. But the pay is much more in corporates. So many of the students are going towards corporate social responsibility, CSR jobs. We are helpless, but that is something that is coming up for many of our colleges. And of course, in terms of social research, media, and legal cells, so there are a lot of opportunities. Also, opportunities to go in for PhD, for going for teaching. There are range of opportunities what students can go in for, and that is why I think welcome to the field of social work, and make the change that you want to make in this world. Really, I am really waiting for all of you all to, even one or two of you all come to go to any college of social work and are able to get trained. It will be wonderful. Yeah, so we are back here. Thank you so much. I don't know whether we made it on time, but we are a little late. It's okay.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was lovely to hear all that you said. I mean, it's really difficult to keep the talk simple for students, and I think you have done it very beautifully. Often when we are thinking about research and all that work, all those things, they tend to come in, and we find it difficult to how to put things simply for the students. But you have done it, and they must have got a comprehensive idea of what social work includes in its field, and they must have learned a lot. Because let me tell you, ma'am, even in their first semester, the degree students, they have two compulsory courses. One is environmental studies, and the other is that paper called ethics and values. And in the first semester, ethics and values paper involves issues related to women. So they are studying about all this, the invisible work of women, the double burden faced by women, and especially problems of women working in the unorganized sector. Then they are learning about child marriages, which are still happening, and they are learning about domestic abuse, and even the dowry system, about which we are still reading in newspapers. So they are reading this, and they are soon going to appear in examination on this paper. And in environmental studies, they are learning about different grassroots movements, and how local people, they are able to make a change in creating this responsibility of people towards the environment. So it's all about people having feeling for other people and people having feeling for the environment. So these two things are there in their course. And I was reading about this concept of an eco-social world, which is right now, it is being emphasized upon, that both of these things are important. We need to be sensitive towards the needs of other people, and we need to be sensitive towards the environment. And so that is why these two courses are compulsory for them. And I also found another thing that you said, many of your students, they come from rural Maharashtra, and they are not comfortable with the English language. So that is the same problem that our students also face here. And they are also allowed to write their examinations in Odia, in their mother tongue, because we want them to understand the concept. The language should not be a barrier. Though I am an English teacher, but I can understand, their problems.
But at the same time, we do tell them to make an effort.
Yes.
If they want to go into other areas and other places, then they need to have at least a smattering of English.
Yes, that's what we are trying to do.
We do tell them
that we are allowing them to write their examinations in Odia, but we ask them to know about all these terms. While I teach them, I use the English terms and the English language also, along with the Odia language.
Yeah.
So that is something which is important. Also, ma'am, we have NSS and YRC wings, and students, they are being introduced to all that they can do at this level while they are part of these wings. Recently, YRC students, they organized a blood donation camp. They organized and they also participated in it. And
it's a good thing to allow them to organize, because that's where they learn everything about organizing.
Yes, and our students also love camping, and as you said, camping is an important part of social work, the sharing and planning together. Yes. So they love to go on such field trips, and I'm sure they would be really interested in taking up social work. As you said, even if 2 or 3 students, they make up their minds today to take this up as their career, our effort will be successful.
Because we also, when we were in school or college, we never realized that, we never felt that we are going to do something like social work. It just happened that, we came across an organization, we came across a college, and then we started. So, there is something which.
So I think there are some questions. Now we will move on to the question and answer session, and I would like to invite my colleague, Vikram Kumar Jena, who is an assistant professor of anthropology. Sir, would you like to take up the Q&A session? Maybe you would like to open with some remark of your own.
I think we have sort of questions, maybe 1 or 2. Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, Professor Geeta Balakrishnan, ma'am, giving wonderful presentation. I think we have one question from Lakshmi Naik. She's asking about something. She's working as an unorganized sector and having no fund and no staff in, and we want to build our community cadres. So any short course. She's asking about online courses and about any guidance to.
Short courses, yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
so management of non-profit organizations is something which is being offered by many education institutions.
Mhm.
So that is something that you can look at. Who's this person? Sorry, I can get her name. Lakshmi. You can look at and we can try and get you the details. If you go to our college website, you know Tata Institute has a lot of courses which are online courses. So you please look these up, especially on funding, how to write project funding proposals, because that is something that we have to learn. And when we write to international organizations, the first draft comes back with more red and green on it than our own words, because we don't know, we haven't put it in the right way. And so it really helps to learn how to do a funding proposal properly. For example, we have this evening course where I teach research methodology, academic writing skills. So one of the things is, which I'm going to do next week, is how do you write a funding proposal, and what will the students pick up from that. So you can definitely look. And the other one is management of non-profit organizations, which is being offered by many colleges, and that includes how to write funds and how to get your funding. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. If I'll get any links or any.
You can look up the College of Social Work, Nirmala, cswnn.edu.in for the management of non-profit course, organization course, and the Tata Institute of Social Sciences is tis.edu.in, tiss.edu.in. So these two you can really look up. Plus, there are a lot of organizations which are offering these things, so you can look up for online courses. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
If anyone having questions, please unmute yourself so that you can ask question directly.
Yes, Mr. Sonu Kumar, I think you wanted to ask something. If you want to ask, please go ahead. Okay.
Meanwhile,
anyone
if
else who
would like to.
Yes, we have Mr. Sonu Kumar. Yes, please. Sorry, we are not able to hear you. नहीं सुन पा रहे हैं.
Muted.
आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही. You can put your question in the chat box otherwise. Okay, and let me also tell ma'am that the section on disaster management was really interesting, and it's also important that, yes.
अब हमारी आवाज जा रही है?
हाँ, yes, अभी हम सुन पा रहे हैं. Please go ahead.
गीता मैम को मेरा बहुत बहुत पहले धन्यवाद. आपने बहुत ही अच्छी जानकारी दी, और आपके जो पीपीटी थे मैम सतपुरा मैम, उस रूपा मैम, आप उनसे अपने व्हाट्सएप पे मंगवा लेंगे तो ज्यादा अच्छा होगा, क्योंकि हमारी तरफ नेटवर्क की समस्याएं थी. मैं बार बार जुड़ रहा था, बार बार बाहर हो जा रहा था. के बारे में बता रही थी ना कि मतलब
मैं भेज दूंगी मैडम.
हाँ मैम, जो आपने बताया ना कि सोशल वर्क के माध्यम से में आज कितने सारे अवसर हैं, वो सारे चीजों के आपने बताया. आज सोशल वर्क के हिसाब से देखा जाए तो मैं हिंदी पत्रकारिता और जनसंचार का विद्यार्थी हूँ. मैं पटना से हूँ, और मुझे लगता है कि आज जो मैं जो करता हूँ, जो मेरा कार्य है, और वो सोशल वर्क से ही जैसा है। वो जब तक हम अपने आप को सोशल नहीं कर पाएंगे तब तक हम पत्रकारिता को हम समझ भी नहीं पाएंगे। तो पहले हम पत्रकारिता करने से पहले हम अपने आप को अपने सोशल बनाए। जब हम सोशल बनाते हैं अपने आप को तो एक उसमें जिम्मेदारी झलकती है। और आपने जो प्रकाश डाला, आपने जो बताया, आपकी पीपीटी जो बातें कर रही थी, मैं बताया तो मैं नेटवर्क की समस्या के कारण मैं पूरा देख नहीं पाया, मगर कुछ बिंदु को मैं जब सुना तो मुझे लगा कि आज के डेट में हर विषय में एक अवसर है, जरूरत है उसे समझने की, रटने की नहीं। आपने जो बताए बातें, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद मैम। और शतरूपा मैम बराबर इस तरह के लेक्चर लेके आती हैं। एक बार मैं इनसे विभूति मैम के द्वारा जुड़ा था और आज मैं दूसरा बार जुड़ रहा हूँ। आज गीता मैम का मैं सुना हूँ, कोरोना काल में एक दो कार्यक्रम में मैंने इनका पार्टिसिपेट किया है इनके बीच। तो बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद मैम। और आपने बहुत अच्छा प्रेजेंटेशन दिया। आप बस पीपीटी मैम को भेज देंगे, हम उसे देख लेंगे।
यस, आज मैं अभी भेजती हूँ, क्योंकि पीपीटी हमने आपके लिए बनाया।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल मैम। और मैं उसे जरूर मैं अपने यूनिवर्सिटी के सारे ग्रुप में भी शेयर करूंगा। आपने जो बताया वो लोग पढ़ें, वो जाने, उसमें सारी बातें आपने कह दी है। और उससे जो आपने बताया है अपने फिलोसफी उसमें जो आपने दी है, उसमें मैंने कुछ पॉइंट्स को नोट किया है। बाकी मैं चैनल के माध्यम से इनका यूट्यूब चैनल को मैं सब्सक्राइब कर रखा हूँ, मैं वहां भी सुन लूंगा।
थैंक यू। Yes, Dr. Sharma.
Thank you, Sonu Kumar ji. It's an important point that he made, that professionals in the media,
There's a
if
lot
they
of social
consider
workers who
their
finish their masters or bachelors and then go in for training in media. There are people who are now, getting into all those fields. So several social workers who finish BSW, MSW, then go for legal training. So the spheres are expanding, which is very good. This is what we want. Yeah.
Yes, and it was really interesting the way you mentioned how you taken all those subjects, economic, sociology, and environmental studies, and you teach them how to understand those subjects and in the context of social work and how to use them in the real life. So that was really interesting and very comprehensive presentation indeed. Yes, so I will share the PPT.
Yes, I'll send it to you just now. No problem.
Okay. Please, I'll share my email ID here. So if you send me an email, I can send you the PPT that ma'am forwarded.
Discussion wala. Hello.
Then we can send it to PDF back from which we will send later after the.
Yes. Okay. So if there are no more questions, then we will move towards the end of our program, and I would like to invite Ms. Prajakti Priyadarshini Sahu, who is guest faculty from the Botany Department, to propose the formal vote of thanks. Please, madam.
Thank you.
Thank you, Satyarupa ma'am, for giving this opportunity to give vote of thanks for a winner. So time waits for none. So now it is time for vote of thanks. The passion of social work comes from heart and soul, but by getting proper training, you can opt it as a profession. It was a wonderful session. It seems like we want more to listen about social work. My first vote of thanks to our chief speaker, respected Dr. Geeta Balakrishnan ma'am, for whom the participants of the seminar knew more about the history, ideas, ground level work, research areas, practical knowledge, diversification of social work, opportunities of employment, and perspectives of social work. So my first vote of thanks, ma'am. My next vote of thanks to Satyarupa Mishra ma'am, the host of the webinar, who took the vital role in organizing the webinar. Next vote of thanks to our principal sir, for its cooperation in the Sukiya lecture series as initiative of Model Degree College, Devgarh. I want to give my next vote of thanks to Bikram Kumar Jena sir, who is co-convener of this webinar and handled Q&A section today, and also has been organizing webinar before successfully. Lastly, thanks to all the participants who have joined the webinar to make it a success. The more we learn, the more we grow. So I conclude my vote of thanks by saying, as we are Indians, we should never stop ourselves to become hungry to serve people, as we have the glorious past of our country to serve people unconditionally by our great leaders of our nation. Thanks to all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We look
Thank you.
forward to inviting you again some other day and listening to you. It's
We'll do
always a
that. For
pleasure.
NAAC, we can go through something.
Yes, yes, ma'am. I will definitely get back to you.
मैम
about
अगर
that.
सभी एक कैमरा खोलेंगे तो एक तस्वीर लिया जा सकता है.
Okay. So if we all turn on our video, then we'll have a nice photograph. Principal, sir, are you there?
Becomes difficult. Yeah.
Okay, sir, ले लीजिए जितने भी हैं.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, we are going to end this meeting now. Thank you everyone for participating.